All right.
I'm Randy Spaulding.
Glenn DeVries.
I'm with Spaulding Clinical, and I'm just going to give you a quick background. This is our third year here, and it's going to lead up to what our disruptive innovation is this year. At the initial disruptive innovation meeting 2 years ago, we announced a new electrocardiograph for clinical trials for cardiac safety studies. And if any of you were here, you might remember this device that I showed at that time. This was the wheel of an electrocardiograph that you typically see in hospitals, clinics, and that are often used in clinical trials. And we replaced it with a full 12-lead electrocardiograph. We told our engineers it had to be smaller than the wheel of the full 12-lead cardiograph. And it is, and it's, trust me, a lot lighter. That was our innovation 2 years ago. Last year, we took away the computer, the PC, the desktop that needed to be connected to this, and we replaced it with mobile health technology, either a tablet, iPhone, iPad, Android tablet. And so now, with this device and a smartphone, I can take an ECG anywhere. The last thing I'll mention is that we worked on in this past year is that we took away many of the patient cables. You might be familiar with this. This is a 12-lead patient cable that a patient needs to be connected up to. And while you can still use that in clinic trials, what we were really trying to do was emphasize the mobile nature of this. And so we created a lead wire set that you can self-apply. And some of you may have heard of this before. It's called the glove. And it basically is a 12-lead ECG electrode set that I just align with my sternum. And then on the back are electrodes, all in the proper location. So the point being, this could be done by the patient in their home just by attaching it to their chest like this. That's pretty cool.
So meanwhile, Medidata Solutions has been building out a platform that allows you to take a structured definition of a protocol and deploy it simultaneously to electronic data capture, the integration of lab data, the integration of data, for example, from an ePro system, as well as integration with electronic health record systems directly, which we have also proven out at one of Spaulding's facilities. Then recently, we introduced the ability to go beyond those sites, beyond the clinical trial professionals who are using our system directly, and take that same structured definition of the protocol and roll it out to patients to the devices that are in their pocket to extend that data capture and full integration in real time. Nothing that Randy and I have talked about is our innovation for today. There was a call to action this morning from Andy about having hunches collide and making connections, and that is exactly why Spaulding and Medidata are here to present to you together.
So what we're going to do is act out the clinical trial of the future. And I am going to be patient A in my home, and I'll be followed by patient B in his home. And what I'm going to do is I'm not only going to have an activity tracker on that I'm wearing every day as part of this trial, but I'm also going to take my own ECG. Now, to save the drama of me taking my shirt off and embarrassing myself, I have already applied the glove underneath my shirt, and I'm just going to plug in.
I've seen it. It's actually there.
And I'm going to sit down like I would at home, or lie down at home, and take my ECG. So that's what I'm doing in my home.
All right. So while Randy's being quiet and taking his ECG, I'm in my home, which is why I happen to be barefoot. I also have my fitness tracker, which I'm just going to sync up now. I'm standing on a scale, which is taking my weight. It's looking at things like my body fat content. And actually, Jeff made a comment about innovation and actually making it something that is used in the real world. Well, we decided that these ideas were important enough that we, Spaulding, Medidata, and actually Withings, that make some of the devices on stage, are actually sponsoring research ourselves to to use this in the real world. Because we believe that actually patient engagement is such an important part of getting the maximum efficacy of any compound. We need to start to study the science of engagement. So actually what we announced today, along with Zach Bloomgarden, who's a prominent endocrinologist, is that we are going to do what is basically a proof of concept study. We're going to make sure all these systems are working incrementally, and then we are going to do what is kind of like a dose ranging study and look to see how, with a very well documented known intervention, which is exercise and diabetes, how we can actually engage with the patient with devices and feedback to optimize the clinical outcomes. And we also think this is a great test of where we think a lot of socioeconomic outcomes are going to need to be measured in future research. So with that, actually maybe we could switch over to our systems. How's your EKG going?
I have my ECG I've been taking. I did transmit it. Ours is a cloud-based system, as Medidata's is. And now you should be able to see on your screen, first for me, you can pull up one of the PDFs. There's my ECG that I just sent in.
And it just got uploaded into the ECRF record, so a remote medical monitor could look at it from their desk in real time.
In real time through Medidata Rave. And then in addition here, and it has all the measurements that are needed for the protocol: heart rates, QRS intervals, physician diagnosis. And then, in addition, I was monitored for my activity. And so it shows my steps that I've been accumulating through my study and other activities.
And now we'll go look at my activity and my weight. And actually, I think it's worth mentioning, we didn't bring it up on stage, but it works the same way. Withings makes a blood pressure cuff. So you could actually send a patient home with the activity tracker, with a scale, or a blood pressure cuff that'll do the blood pressure and pulse, and again, upload it integrated in real time into your eClinical system. Thank you. We'll take questions from the panel.
We want to see his weight. Yeah, can you actually go back to the weight? You gained 7 kilograms.
Yeah, I gained 7 kilograms since last night because we were doing it last night, and we put this on the rug that was in the room of the hackathon, and the rug didn't have a stable enough platform. So I actually didn't stay that long at the hackathon happy hour. I didn't actually gain 7 kilograms last night. It is all my measurement. In fact, interestingly, the scale detects that it's me by looking at trends. So when we did that, I actually re-registered myself before we did this to make sure that was okay. And the device Randy has in his hand registers who you are based on your voice print. So we're also thinking about the authentication of the person out in the field. Yep. Cool. We'll take other questions for you.
Questions?
So you said that it measures your body fat?
Yes.
How does it do that?
That's why I'm barefoot. So it sends a electrical impulse through your body. It's actually pretty standard technique in a lot of these athletic scales. So I am 190-something pounds. And if I stand still enough, I'll get my body fat as well.
And there's a whole bunch of different sensor technologies out there. Is what you're doing that you think is disruptive the integration of that in some way? Or is there something unique about these particular sensors that make them better than other sensors that are out there?
I think the innovation here is the idea of putting this stuff in the patient's hands. So I think there'll be lots of other sensors, right? We're going to have the things that are Band-Aid, et cetera. But if you go to the Clay Christensen definition of disruptive innovation, like go to the textbook, we are taking something that had to be done by highly trained healthcare professionals, any measurement that was in clinic in a clinical trial, and now we've put that as far as you can get into the field to the patient to do themselves, or even, again, in the case of some of these devices, something that's totally passive, that they don't actually have to worry about at all.
So at the risk of being the Paula Abdul, this is awesome. I think this is, I do, because this is what we've been talking about, how to get these technologies connected to clinical trials, and the fact that you guys are willing to take on running the trial to validate it, rather than the main seems to be obstacle to adoption is no one wants to be the first. So I commend you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very cool.
There you go. Go out on
No
a high
further
note.
questions?
Okay.
We're good?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.